Freedom from, there we go. There's our building in Madison, Wisconsin. This is newly expanded. You can see that. And we are proud to announce that the membership of the foundation is larger than it's ever been. Last week, you can see the total there, more than 32,000. That represents a gain of almost 10% since the last convention, 9.7%. The year before was about 20%. I think people are concentrating on the election this year, but we still had a very robust growth this year due to a lot of reasons. And some of you here for the first time, maybe because you saw one of our ads or some of our things. And if you're interested, here's the of the last 30-some years, starting from way back then. And in the April issue of our paper, we announced 40 years of growth, and we gave a timeline of from the early years back in the 1970s. You can see some of our early activism all the way through up until the present day with our TV show and radio show, and of course, legal accomplishments.
So this is a sampling of some of the many TV news stories about the over 1,200 complaint letters that our attorneys sent since the last convention. It just gives you a teaser. They're going to be giving a presentation tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, FFRF on a roll.
Last November, a national group called the Freedom from Religion Foundation wrote a letter to Searcy Superintendent calling these Bible verses on the choir room's walls unconstitutional.
It all started when the West Branch superintendent got a complaint letter from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. The letter claimed a prayer performed at a public school sporting event violates the Constitution.
This is the official complaint sent to the school system's attorney from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. It cites a Supreme Court decision from 2000. The court ruled student-led prayer at football games unconstitutional.
The Walter School District recently received a letter from a Wisconsin group, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, telling them that allowing former football player, graduate, and a current pastor to speak at a recent football camp was religion-infused.
A group called the Freedom from Religion Foundation says the video violates the U.S. Constitution because it endorses Christianity. In a letter to the chief, the foundation writes, as a city police department, you serve a diverse population that consists of not only Christians, but also minority religious and non-religious citizens.
Someone passed along a form letter from the organization Freedom from Religion. It told people to alert the owner to the illegality of the practice.
In their original statement, the FFRF said it convinced an Indiana elementary school to refrain from holding any teacher-led religious club.
On August 30, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, an atheist-based nonprofit, complained to Judge Bowles, accusing the tax assessor's office of committing constitutional violations.
In a letter sent last week, Freedom from Religion asked the Dawson County School District to ensure that its football program is no longer allowing religious leaders to have access to its students or promoting religion.
The Freedom from Religion Foundation has sent the district a letter calling for an investigation.
The Freedom from Religion Foundation sent the mayor of Honesdale this letter, which is objecting to the display on public property.
The letter asks Honesdale to move the Star and Cross to private property since, according to the foundation, they're a, quote, serious constitutional violation.
In a letter to the city attorney, the Freedom from Religion Foundation is asking the city to remove it from public property, citing the 2016 U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals decision that found a similar Ten Commandments monument in another New Mexico city was unconstitutional.
So our legal director, Rebecca Market, will give you a more thorough summary of all those letters and the 350 victories that we had since the last convention. And including
Pensacola, Florida.
So then we're going to have litigation update from Patrick Elliott, but I'm going to give you a teaser of we've won 7 cases this year, 8 since the last convention. This is a decision that this cross is unconstitutional by the 11th Circuit. We won a decision resounding by the 9th Circuit that you can't have prayer to start public school board meetings. This is Chino Hills, California, and the attorney who is taking that case for us is going to be here tomorrow to tell us more about it. This is a New Jersey case that we won a unanimous decision by the New Jersey State Supreme Court that you cannot use tax money to repair houses of worship. And David Steketee, yes, unanimous. And David Steketee, who is the principal plaintiff, is receiving our Freethinker of the Year award, and you'll meet him tomorrow. We won a case against Governor Abbott, who wanted to censor our Bill of Rights nativity. It's in Texas. It's on appeal. We just had oral arguments yesterday. We had won a case saying that you can't have a cross on county seals in Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, and they appealed it, and we just had the oral arguments. We had oral arguments October 18th. And that's Andrew Seidel, our Director of Strategic Response, who gave the wonderful oral arguments in Barker versus Conroy. That's where, Dan?
That's where my representative asked the chaplain of the House of Representatives to allow me to give a secular invocation, and the chaplain turned me down, so we're suing him.
And you'll notice the chaplain is a Roman Catholic priest, the U.S. House chaplain. And then we just had oral arguments last week in the Seventh Circuit in our very important clergy housing allowance case, the housing parsonage case, which we are winning. We did draw 3 Republicans, including a Trump appointee, so we'll see what happens there. And then Patrick Elliott will be telling you about those cases, plus our newest case just filed last week against the unfair treatment of churches. They get to be exempt from filing information returns about what they do with their money that all other tax-exempt groups have to file in order to retain tax exemption. And it's a serious situation because churches are financial black holes, and our president wants to let them endorse from the pulpit. So could be a money laundering operation. So you'll learn more about that.
And then we have a campaign to educate Congress. That means lobbying. Here's Patrick and Andrew in D.C. talking to members of Congress. Here's Rebecca and Patrick with Representative Raskin. And here they are with Representative Pocan, and there was a lot more they'll tell you a lot more about that. Also,
and Andrew will give a report on that. And of course, Huffman, that you heard earlier today, Raskin and Pocan are members of the new Congressional Free Thought Caucus.
And we have a long history of encouraging young people, try to getting them more involved, especially with our student scholarships.
So we have given over $46,000 in scholarships to essay winners, and we have 4 contests. We have contests for college-bound high school seniors, and those are the major winners, and for ongoing college students, for grads, or for students of color. All of the contests are open to everybody except the Students of Color is a new contest to specially recognize, recognize achievements. And then we also, every year, give $10,000 to the Catherine Farringer Memorial Fund and work with Black Skeptics of Los Angeles. There's $10,000 divided between 4 students who are first in their family to go to college, and both merit and needs-based for students of color.
And of course, we educate the public. Besides the legal work, we educate about the views of us non-believers. Here's a full-page ad that ran in the New York Times, and did it run somewhere else? It's time to quit the Catholic Church.
It was refused by Pennsylvania papers.
The Pennsylvania newspapers refused to run this ad after that big scandal. Here's something that ran on Constitution Day, answering the Hobby Lobby's annual ads, which distorts history. We're correcting the record. We also educate the public with billboards. I'm an atheist and I vote. That's Denver. The only wall we need is between church and state. That's Georgia, is that? And Denver. In Science We Trust. Here's a full-size billboard in Science We Trust. And as I mentioned earlier today, we published, and our newest published book is a reprint of Just Pretend. And we are on the air. We have a weekly Ask an Atheist show.
On Facebook.
On Facebook Live.
Where's the
Freedom from Religion. And then we also have the new TV show, Free Thought Matters, produced in our new studio, the Stephen Ewell Friendly Atheist Studio right there in our building. And there's the Free Thought Matters with Julia Sweeney that has been airing.
And we've been doing a lot of interviews already for Free Thought Matters with many of our speakers here, so that's been fun. Setting up an impromptu makeshift studio with our video director, Bruce Johnson. And then here's my favorite commercial.
Hi, I'm Ron Reagan, an unabashed atheist, and I'm alarmed by the intrusions of religion into our secular government. That's why I'm asking you to support the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the nation's largest and most effective association of atheists and agnostics, working to keep state and church separate, just like our founding fathers intended. Please support the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
I'm going to ask you. Did any of you see that ad on TV? It was on Rachel Maddow. It's been many times. We also travel. We're also branching out international. Here I got to speak.
Go back.
I got to speak at the very first International Latin American Free Thought Conference in Peru, a couple of days after Annie Laurie broke her foot down there. But it's pretty amazing what's happening in other countries in the world, especially in Latin America, and they're planning more conferences as well. There were, hundreds of people that were there representing about 14 countries. They're excited, they're organized, they care, they want to change, they want to improve the world. Annie Laurie got to go to New York City to speak at the French Embassy at an event organized by, well, why don't you tell them? That's Gloria Steinem.
Yeah, Gloria Steinem and Robin Morgan. And we also want to show you our staff. We brought about a dozen of them, well, there's 14 of us here, but about that many stayed back home. And this is our winter solstice staff picture that we just took. But we also want to thank all the staff who are here, and they've been working so hard. It's been a lot of work going from one ballroom to another with the sales and doing many other things. And if you look at their name badges, it'll tell you their title and what they do. It's every possible variety: attorneys, editors, directors of communication. Here they are. And a special thank you to Lisa Strand, who has done enormous work with the very, very complicated logistics of this hotel. We won't go into the gruesome details. And here's some more of our staff here. And then there's Eric and Todd, who are selling the clean money. Thank you, the volunteers. We also want to let you know our official staff photographer is Ingrid Loss, and Chris Line, you saw his picture earlier, our legal fellow, is also taking photographs. And then we're very touched that one of our staff members who isn't here to work actually came on his own steam, James Fetaplace, and he's our IT manager, so if you see him, tell him thank you. And of course, you met Buzz Kemper, who's outside audio guy. And then we want to continue with our theme that we're secular and we vote, and end with some wisdom from the principal founder of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, Ann Nicol Gaylor, who says, unless religion is kept in its place, all personal rights will be in jeopardy. Truly prophetic words. So thank you so much for coming here today and making this a success, and we're going to zip along. Next.
Nothing feels like prayer.